Let's do a quick training on breakouts and failed breakouts. Who was it yesterday that was asking me about these? I forgot who it was. Was it Jeremy? I forgot who it was. It was Patrick. There we go. Patrick. That's who it was. Yeah. So Patrick was talking about. I think it was Hood actually, right? And he was like, "Hey, it kind of broke out, and then it pulled back. I thought it was a failed breakout." And everything that I do in trading deals with other people and the psychology of other people. Um, Except when you come to value. When you're dealing with value, it's a different trade. But from technical analysis, you're always trading the trader, right? And so what you have to do is you have to figure out when your idea breaks. Well, the way that I determine, hey, one, when does the chart break? It breaks when there is more trapped traders above you than happy, profitable traders below you. All right, let's go. Does anybody have any questions on this? Yes. Okay, so no questions on this. When does the chart breaks? It breaks when there is more trap traders above you than happy profitable traders below you. Okay, so trap, yeah, sorry. So what a trap trader is it's anybody that is negative or red on the trade. So if you're short and it goes up, you're trapped. If you're long and it goes down, you're trapped. Does that make sense? So here, I'll give you an example. When Patrick and I were talking about this yesterday, he said, "Hey, there's this breakout here. You guys see this breakout right here? We're breaking out to highs, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, we broke out, and we didn't go." And so it kind of makes you nervous, right? It's like, it's gonna be a failed breakout. I'm about to lose all my profits. At this green arrow right here, can you guys see that? Was there more trap traders above you or happy traders below you? And a trap trader would be anybody that bought above this point when the price is lower. So anybody that bought at when the price is at 66.50, let's say right here, anyone that bought above that level is a trap. They're trapped, right? Well, yeah, there's more happy people below you, right? This was a very small amount of people that bought. Now, can they have a big effect on the market? I mean, on the price of the stock? Absolutely, yeah. But they have to do it in combination with others. And for a failed breakout to become a failed breakdown, you eventually have to break through the people that are holding you up and are trying to absorb the stock. So if I were to look at this chart, let's see if I can bring it to a 3 minute here. Oops. Take this away. Bam. Okay. So for For this particular uh, chart to break down and to say this chart is broken, where do we have to get under? Where would you guys say there's more trap traders above you than there are beneath happy traders beneath you? What level? And this is highly important to understand zones for me, right? So for me, the first thing that I would do is I would be putting in these little VPs. Would everybody agree that if we get below this bottom line into this box, you've got more trap traders than you do happy traders? Would everybody agree with that? I think everybody can agree with that, right? Yeah, okay. So that's easy to see. So we know that if it gets below that level, we should be stopped out. Now, here's the art of trading. Do we want to buy a breakout or play a breakout level up here and hold it all the way down to there? Most of the time, my answer is no. There's no way. Now, if I'm trying to absorb a pullback or something like that, yeah, I'll bring it all the way back down to here. But when I'm buying a breakout, it's like, no, it needs to go, right? So then it's like, well, okay, where would that level be? I understand for the absorption purposes, yeah, this is as long as it's above this bottom line, there's a chance that it can hold and still go. Absolutely. Everybody agrees with that, right? So now it's like, well, now we have to do the art side of it, which is, man, how tight do I want to get this and how much range do I want to give it? And what I tell you is you always want to look at the most recent VP levels to determine where the people are going to become trapped. So let me just ask you a question. Do you guys think these people are the most important VP levels, this box? Do you think that's where we should be holding it? Should it be here? Should it be here? Like where? So the way that I see it and the way that I envision things is, well, who who built us the pad so that we can jump off this pad and go up? Well, that's these people over here, right? So these people, right, aren't as important to me as these people. These people need to hold. Does that make sense? They're the ones that built the pad that we can jump off of. So do you guys remember how I always say you want to reclaim a VP level, and that's when I become really interested in a bottom. Well, when did that happen on Hood? So as we start looking at Hood, and I'm going to take away the day that Patrick was talking about because that's what we're going to be quantifying here, and that would be like this, right? So as I'm looking at this, it's like, man, you know what? For this particular section, here's your box. This is the area that I would say it needs to start holding here. You start getting down into these lower areas after a breakout, it's like, I don't want to be a part of it. Doesn't mean it can't hold, and I would play it if it came back into it. But this would be the areas that I would be like, it needs to hold these areas. And isn't it amazing that it lines up with 65? It usually lines up with the options levels. So like 62.50, 65, 60, you know. And so it's like, all right, okay, I see it. I get it. So at this point, I would say, all right, just like we're doing on, just like we did on the SPY a minute ago, if it breaks out and goes and it pulls back to this level, I would view it as an opportunity to buy more. So let's see what happened on Hood. All right. Well, oh, there it goes. Okay, great. I'm happy. I'm happy. Oh, maybe I take a piece off. Well, okay, it's pulling back. Oh, what is it doing right now? Oh, it's just retesting literally the levels that built the pad so that you could jump off this rack and go and try to make new highs. We haven't even broken the people underneath you that we need to keep happy. Now, if we get some consolidation up here in this area and they become heavier than all these people and it starts to break down, that's when I would be like, all right, let's start getting a little bit concerned. And I'm going to show you a couple different things here. So what I would have looked at on this hood is, all right, I was able to take a little bit of profit, or I didn't take any profit. It's giving me a nice pullback after it's already doing what I want it to do. So to me, it's like when you give your kid a little bit of permissions, I mean, a little bit of, freedom, and you're like, hey, yeah, I trust you with a phone. And then they do what they're supposed to do. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I'll give you a little bit more time on the phone now that I can trust you, right? This is doing what I want it to do, so I can trust you a little bit more, right? So to me, it's like, yeah, let's really get after it. Does that make sense? And so it never really broke down the people that are trying to keep it happy, right? And the people that are trying to keep it happy are in this box because they built the platform for us to jump off of. Does this all make sense, guys? Now I'm going to show you a couple different scenarios. So when we were talking about the SPY, and we're like, hey, guys, what happens if the SPY breaks out to here and pulls back? I'm willing to buy. Like these are the people that made us happy. These are the people that are going to be holding us up. I'm willing to buy in this zone, right? Like, yeah, I'm willing to buy it back. Okay. Well, let's look at Tesla. You guys remember when I lost some money? Well, what was happening on Tesla? Here's your box. Here's your zones. I'm going to take out the last couple days so you can see it still lines up. So as Tesla starts pushing up and away, yeah, I'll buy a retest. I'll buy this. Shoot, maybe we just pull back and maybe we go to 400. I would like to be a part of that. Please, please, let's make that happen. Well, we know it didn't, right? But did the chart itself break down? And this is the art of trading. The answer is no, it didn't. It actually came into that low level, right? We came into this low level and held. And so what I do is it's like, all right, this could really go. Let me buy next week's whatever, 380s, $400 calls. It failed. Let me stop out of that because that trade was thinking that this is going to hold. The next trade is thinking that this entire zone's going to hold. So I thought maybe we're going to hold, maybe the point of control, maybe this gap fill, maybe this area, and that's going to give us the launch to 400. But it failed, and it happens sometimes. But the chart itself didn't break down. So yeah, I'm mad that I lost some money. I'm upset, but I did what I was supposed to do. Let me stop out. Let me rinse and repeat. Try it again at this next level. Oh, okay, now I've made some money. So maybe, because it is Tesla, it happens all the time, maybe this is the one that launches us to the next level. Okay, well, what if it does this and then comes all the way back down to here? I will be out. I'm not going to play it below this level. So again, when you're absorbing in a zone and when you're looking at things and when you're playing breakouts, the only thing that matters is, are the people above you happy? Are the people below you happy? Like, where is everybody? Well, at what point were these people getting really pissed off? Well, I was one of them, right? We were one. We were buying some of this up in here. I was getting mad as it's pulling back and it starts. For me, I was getting upset as it starts breaking down here. It's like, man, Tesla's so weak. Like it should. This is the point it should have held and gone, right? Okay, let me take my loss, stop out, whatever you got to do, and then I'm going to reattack the trade with a different trade using this entire zone. So I'll give you an example of what could happen on the SPY. Well, what if the SPY comes in and comes to this level? I think it will hold. Me personally, right here, right now. I think between this level and this level is a buy. I think between 589.30 and 590.63, it's going to hold. That's just my personal opinion, right? But when does the chart break? Well, you got to get everybody under here before the chart breaks. Like your price action has to get below the fat guy, and the whole fat guy is going to be rolling down the hill. Remember, so below this level is really where the chart breaks. So five. You could argue that it's actually here too. It's fine. It doesn't matter. But so let's just say 587.50. If this thing breaks below 587.50, then you're going to start coming down into lower levels. You'll probably come down into this gap fill area, and you'll definitely come down and hit this low and then this low. Maybe these are the ones that hold, right? But for me, this breakout push to 600 is dead below this level. That's where the chart breaks. Once this level does break, would I be willing to try it here on this level? Sure, yeah, maybe. Maybe take it from there to gap close. Sure, yeah, we can try it. Right. But this idea of the big people holding you, everybody being happy is over once we break below that level. Okay. I think I've explained it pretty good. You guys have any questions? So I've given you examples of ones that work. I've given you examples of ones that didn't work. I've given you ones of example that you had to stop out and then reattack. And then I've given you possible future examples of what could happen with the SPY and how to play it. When you play it before, yeah, fog. So for me, I always count the amount of candles and count how many ever candles you think it's going to take to break out of it, right? So like with one day, how many 4-hour candles do you get? Right. So if you think it's going to resolve itself in 10 candles, you'd want to buy at least out to that point. Yeah, it's recorded. All this is recorded. So Polaris asked a question. He said, hey, do you have a rule for how far below a level does the price need to close for you to consider the level broken? Yeah. So this is where you guys have ever heard me say there's kind of like this Efren stop loss. That Efren stop loss is if it breaks below that level, I'm out no matter what. So I'll give you an example of one that didn't work, right? So like on PLTR, when I'm looking at things that have broken out, do you remember my rule? I said, hey, I want it to hold kind of like that point of control level. And if it can't hold that point of control level, I'm going to stop out and then I'll get back in if it reclaims it. So looking at this PLTR, it's like, where is that level? For me, it's really like I would say the real level is about right here. So maybe 124, 60, 70, somewhere in here. I want it to hold this level. But my quote unquote Efren stop loss would be probably right here. 124.16 to 124.30ish, right? Like I I just I think this box should be the one holding it. Does that make sense? Now, would this have stopped me out? Well, yeah, look, it came right it came right down and wicked me out. So what happened? Well, the zone held that we were talking about. The entire absorption zone held. So the chart still didn't break down. Even though it broke down the point of control, it stopped me out and then it went. Well, that's fine. This is what I talk about, the failed breakdowns and the reclaims. I prefer to be stopped out on that first attempt and then I'll take it again. I love it. That's actually my favorite chart pattern because that's washing people out and you're creating a lower right shoulder on a W or an inverted head and shoulders. One of the two. Either one is a failed breakdown, and I like the failed breakdowns. So, do I have a specific spot that I just immediately stop out? Absolutely. Do I give it a little bit of range? Absolutely. So, on the entire zone, if we were to look at PLTR on the entire zone, it's like, really it needs to hold that level. That's that level, right? That's the level that you really want it to hold. However, I could see it coming down and wicking, and let me take this away, and it's like, well, where is that Efren stop loss? Probably, probably somewhere like right there. And usually the way that this stuff lines up, guys, is it lines up with new lows. So it's like that's the area it should hold. But do you see how this is kind of that low area? If this area starts breaking, you're probably going to start breaking down here and testing the next lows, which is going to be this VP, right? Oh, it's called here. Efren. Efren's the guy that I helped learn how to trade. It's that's how you say his name. Yeah, it's a weird name. He's a weirdo. But so think of it this way: it's it's kind of like your last ditch effort for the chart to hold. And yeah, I understand that it needs to hold this level, but I allow it to go a little bit further lower if they want to wick it. And I've actually got a video on YouTube called the Efren stop loss where I was actually explaining it to him. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. So this is an older video, but if you wanted to watch it, that's why I call it that. It's kind of like your last ditch effort that it holds, but you always have to have a spot on the chart where you say I'm just not going to play it if it goes underneath this, and that's like that last stop. That's all it is. Okay. Um, is there a minimum time frame you use to set up your zones? No, no, Navy. So here's the important part of that. When you're playing a shorter time frame, you're going to have less amount of people. If you're looking at a larger time frame, you're going to have more people. So that just has to do with the equal weight, right? I'm always talking about balance. It's like we need to be balanced, and so if we look at the SPY, it's like if we look at it daily, it's like, oh well, shoot, where is that level? Well, I don't know. It looks like it's right here. It looks like we're just getting back to the point of control on the SPY. See it? It's like, oh well, if you're going to be using all the people from back here, you're right. That's correct. Is there a minimum time that I use or a maximum? No. It all goes back to the people that you're playing. So if I'm looking at a 1 minute chart now in SPY, or a 2 minute or a 3 minute chart, well, what I have to do is just simple math in my head or simple understanding of, okay, well, today we've got 1 day's price action that did this. Well, if we have 1 day's price action that does that, how many days price action would it take to overcome this group of trap traders? Well, 1 day up, 1 day down, probably two. Does that make sense? You probably need one one trading day up, one trading day down, and well, in 2 days you could get all those people out, right? That's just simple if you're trading the same amount. Now, if you're looking at the SPY, how long did it take to create this zone for the SPY? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5 days. Now that we're breaking up, you got a lot of people taking profits. But if you would have broken down, like if this would have broken down and washed and come all the way into this gap zone, how easy would it have been to come right back through these people? It would have been relatively tough because you got a lot of trap traders. And so they're going to keep you down. And that's what creates the pullback, hit, higher low, consolidation. And then it's like, oh, now it's ready to go. So, like on AMD today, AMD was a perfect setup. Why? Well, just look at the chart. What have we done on AMD? We've created a double bottom, right? Everybody see this double bottom? Bam, bam, with a break over the neckline. Now, what does all this mean when it comes to what I'm talking about? You've got a couple days of consolidation that have allowed you to go sideways, where you have created a trampoline that you can jump off of. And so, because you were able to, Nate calls it a ledge because you've created this ledge. Now we've broken above it, we're good. But if we break below it, it's the exact opposite. So as we push up in AMD, I think being able to buy a pullback into this range would be great. However, if we broke down and you bought it down here at the next zone, I would be selling back into this zone. So I'd be selling on one and I'd be buying on the other because of you're above or below the happy people. Okay, I think I've answered everything. Any other questions? If not, I'll stop the recording. It's 30 minutes here. That's pretty good.